It was a very interesting month, and I have a training for you tonight. But one of the things that and April and I've talked a lot about this, but I was joking earlier. What I'm gonna talk to you about tonight is really dumbing things down, simplifying things, and you know sometimes we don't realize what we sound like when we talk to other people. And I think when we do talk to other people, sometimes they think we're Martians or aliens. I just think they think we're freaking weirdos. And if you ever want to hear yourself, just when you're talking on the phone, borrow your husband or someone's phone and just record yourself. Like if you're getting on the phone to prospect and talk to a prospect and record some of them and then play them back and listen to them. And I think you might be shocked at what you say. And I'm not talking about the getting reacquainted with people and and getting things friendly again and warming things up with your warm market and stuff. We've talked about that before. What I'm talking about is the language that we choose to use, the conversation that we choose, the words that we choose. And I think we scramble people's eggs more than we could ever imagine. And that's going to be the topic tonight. I really want you to understand that a lot of times when we're talking to people, they don't understand. And it's not because they're dumb. Okay, it's because we use terms, phrases, words, industry slang. We talk about science and things that and assume people know what we're talking about, like they've been in business with us for 10 years. And when you listen to it and you realize that they don't have a clue and they've never been exposed, you realize how difficult it is. And if you ever wonder why they don't get back to you, if you ever wonder why they don't return messages, now that happens anyway. You could have done an absolutely perfect job and chose every word perfectly, and they don't get back to you. And it's just because they're not ready. Okay. And there's nothing you can do about that. But all we can do is stack the deck in our favor the best we can and leave a good taste in their mouth for when the time comes that they'll think about calling us. Okay, that's all you can do because it's only going to happen when it's right for them. Even though we use, the end of the month to push to get things done because we have our goals and our business plans and all of that, and that's all fine. But the people that get started, they get started because the timing is right for them to get started. Okay. And if we don't talk to them properly and use the right terms and not complicate it, and you've heard this, if you complicate it, you can't duplicate it. It's not a new term. So I'm going to spend a little time talking about that, and I'm going to give you two stories in particular that happened yesterday. Okay. And it really makes it's what I love about the business is the unknown. I it's like 2 days are never the same. It's almost like two conversations are never the same. Two prospects are never the same. Everything's different. And I like the thrill of that. I like the change in that. I think that helps sharpen your blade a little bit as far as conversations go. You may remember about a month ago when Kenneth was training, he talked about the third, fourth, fifth person that you talk to in the same day, that's the one that's going to get involved because you get better and better and better with each conversation. And by the time you've done it 4 or 5 times in a day, you're really sharp. Well, why? Well, the people you spoke to before probably used up all the excuses there are. And you've gotten real good at addressing them and dealing with them or deflecting them, whatever it might be. And by the time you get 4, 5, 6 people in, you're really good. Okay. Think of it like a sport. Nobody is at their best on their first swing. or when they first get started is once they get warmed up and they're into it, okay, I don't care if it's basketball or hockey or baseball, football, it doesn't matter. Once you get warmed up, you're better, okay? And this business is the same way. So you can't expect to be perfect on the first one. And if you choose words that only people in our business understand, think about what's going on in the other person's head. Okay. So let me go to some slides and please take some notes because I think you'll get some good takeaways out of this. Okay, so before I go ahead and get into the training part of it, congratulations to everyone for all the successes that went on in May. May was weird, You had Mother's Day weekend in there, you had Memorial Day weekend in there, and Memorial Day came early. A matter of fact, the auto ships went out during Memorial Day weekend, the 25th. It was a weird month. You have all the graduate. If you're in the South, up north, I know the kids are still in school, but you have all the graduations from college and high school and middle school, and it's a weird month, okay? And hopefully you made the best of a weird month, but we're in June now, okay? And one thing that's interesting, and I want to set the stage, and I have no idea what LifeVantage may or may not do this month, but they seem to there seems to be a promotion or a special or something that they tend to do the last month of their fiscal year, and that is June. This is the last month of the fiscal year for LifeVantage. Okay, so they're always looking to build their numbers up before they close the year out, and you know how that affects the stock and stuff. So we actually have our executive Zoom call with corporate tomorrow. So maybe we'll have something to say next Sunday or maybe even before that. But I'm just saying be prepared because June is the last month for LV LifeVantage. Okay. Also, our product and opportunity Zoom this month will be June 23rd, three weeks from tomorrow. Okay, so it'll be Monday, June 23rd at 8:30, and I'll have the invites and stuff and get those posted either this week or by next Sunday. You don't need them now because that's still 3 weeks away. Okay. So do you remember seeing this? I've showed you this before, and I'm only going to take a second, but if you look at it and you see yellow, pink, white, blue, you see all kinds of numbers, red and black and red, and you know, it's confusing, but in our business, we should know what it means as consultants. But this isn't something that a prospect should ever look at. This isn't something we should ever show to a prospect, other than if we're just giving a glimpse, like during an opportunity meeting, just giving a glimpse to make an example of 55,000 a year. Okay. So what I want to do for the next few minutes is make things as simple as possible, and for two reasons. I honestly believe that most consultants in the business, including most of us on here tonight, don't know how they get paid. They don't know. The check just comes. And if you're signing up customers, it just comes. You don't realize you're getting 10% on every customer order a few days after they order. Okay, you don't know. You may not even be doing an accounting with it. And and this is not unique to LifeVantage. This is just kind of network marketing. A lot of people just don't know where the money comes from. They don't even know what they're supposed to get paid when the month's over. And I can tell you, in April of Vouch, we know within $500. Now, keep in mind, we have a high six-figure check, 5-figure a month check, 6-figure a year income, but we know within a few $100s what we earned. And the only thing we may be a little off on is the it's not called profit sharing bonus, but the share bonus that executives get And because we don't know if that's going to be 1200, 1250, 1300, 1350. It varies a little bit between 1200 and $1,400. So that's where we can be off a little bit. But I want to dummy this down, and I'm hoping the light bulb will go on for you, that you'll begin having an easier time showing people where money comes from. If you notice the example here, it's not GLP-1, it's not collagen, it's not Protandim. The examples I'm using are customer sales, period. It doesn't matter what the customer buys, okay? It doesn't make any difference. Every product has a point value, and we get paid a certain amount of money on the point value. So write this down. When they buy it, or when the subscription goes out, okay, when they buy it the first time, or when the automatic subscription goes out, you will get 10%. Okay, you get 10% on that. Okay, because they're paying 10% more than a consultant price. So you're getting 10%. If they bought retail, you're getting 20%. And you normally get that within the week. Okay, it comes within a few days, and it depends if it's weekend or not. But okay, so what I'm showing you now are what we refer to as the Onyx, Emerald, Sapphire, and Diamond bonuses. But those terms mean nothing to nobody, so don't use them. Okay, don't use those terms. So here's where I really need you to understand. I need the light bulb to go on. At 500 points, we get an extra 5% bonus. Okay. That's the Onyx bonus. We get an extra. So that 5% means we're getting $25 on those 500 points. And you see in the red, it says $25 for 500 points PV. Okay. At 1,000 points, we get 10%. The bonus is equivalent or equal to $100 on 1,000. Okay, now think about it. I want us using the word dollars more, not percentages, but dollars. Okay, so, but here's what happens. We're earning $100 on 1,000 points. That's $50 on every 500 PV. We have doubled our pay. Just by getting somebody to go from 500 points to 1,000 points, we double our pay. And it's retroactive. See, it goes back and pays $50 on that first 500 instead of 25. It's retroactive for the month. Okay, think about it. It's like compounding interest on money you have in the bank. It just compounds and compounds and compounds. Okay, by getting to 2,000 in point value in a month, it goes to 15%. Okay, well, that bonus now is $300 on 2,000. That's $75 on every 500 points. It's retroactive. So that first 500 points where you may have thought you were in 25, now you're earning 75 for it. And when you thought you were earning $50 on the 500 point, every 500 at 1,000, you're getting 75. It's retroactive. It goes back and includes everything else you did for the month. And when you get to 4,000 points, okay, it's 20%. That's $800 on 4,000 points. That's the equivalent of $100 for every 500 points. Retroactive. So let me ask you a question. Why would we ever want someone to only get paid $25 on every 500 points when there's $100 for every 500 points available? So why am I bringing this up? I'm going to show you in a second, but what I did is I was just scanning the genealogy, and I noticed there were 15 or 20 people that were within striking distance, okay, of moving up from either 5% to 10 or 10 to 15 or 15 to 20. And I was texting them. Okay. But I was texting them in nice, simple terms, letting them know what would happen if they made up the difference to get to the next level. Okay, that's what I was doing. Real short, simple. And I want you to realize this was a game changer. Okay. And let me show you how simple this was. Hope all is well. You're only 46 points away from 500 and the Onyx gemstone. It's an extra 5% bonus. Now, what I'm not showing, I'm not showing people's names, but I want you to understand these texts, after I sent that, they continued. Okay, there was a thread and they continued. And the reason I cut that off is because our names go back and forth, and I'm giving people some privacy here. But then it said you also have 398 points, and you're only 402 away from the rank of SC2. Okay, the 402 needed can be done by anyone on your team. Let us know if we can help. Now, if you look at the middle one, there were 3 or 4 texts, and all I did was change the numbers in them, okay, and personalize it with the person's name. So hope all is well. You have 9,547 points. You're only 453 points away from 10,000 and the rank of MC1. Let us know if we can help. Happy to help you or any of your teammates. Then the other one, well, when it says hello, mama, that means it was Jaya. Okay, so that's a giveaway. I think she's out to dinner with her family tonight, but I said that's her nickname for me. I said, hope all is well. You're only 171 points away from 2,000. And Sapphire, it's an extra 15% bonus instead of 10. Let us know if we can help. And she responded, I know, I expect some more subscriptions to go in today. Now, I did this and I kept doing it, all right, and I'm going to show you the results in a second, but another one, hope all is well. You're only 288 points away from 1,000 and emeralds, so this is the gemstone ranks. It's an extra 10% instead of 5. All I'm doing is saying it's what they would get if they hit it. It's an extra 10% instead of 5, okay? Let us know. Okay, we'll do. It's a custom order I need, right? And I said, correct. Well, that person, you'll see in a second, within a day, they had done it, okay? And it was the first time that they had hit Emerald. Hope all is well, the green one, you're only 52 points away from Onyx, and it's an extra 5%. And, they just said thank you. So this went on with maybe 15 different texts, 252 points away to be Emerald, but it's the same text. Read the one in the middle, because there's a story with this one I want to share with you. Good morning. You're only 267 points from the next rank of SC2. Okay. More importantly, you're only 175 customer points away from being gemstone or sapphire gemstone seller. And this is an extra 15% bonus on all your customer sales. It's huge. If you hit 2,000 in customer points, you'll get an extra $300 bonus. So I put dollars in there, okay? Instead of just leaving it at 15%, I put dollars in there. And I said, of course, we're always ready to help. Looking forward to seeing you in Dallas in October, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do you know that text went on for probably about a foot or a foot and a half on my phone if you added them all up? But that person was at a wedding last night, and at about 11 o'clock at night was just double checking his volume points, and make a long story short, got the order in, okay, to hit that 2,000 for the first time, stepping out from a wedding reception. Okay, this stuff matters, folks. Okay, we need to let people know where they are. It matters. The $300 matters. Okay, and you know what happened because of that order? The one, let me go back a slide. This one here in the middle, the 95471, that'll get you to 10,000 in MC1. Do you know that order put that over 10,000 so it helped their upline hit MC1 because they hit Sapphire. And what happens, folks, this happens all the time. There's a domino effect when these things begin to happen because everybody pushes everybody along. And obviously, if it happens in someone's downline, the volume points count all the way up. And it can change ranks, it can change earnings, it can change everything. You know, if you look all the way to the right, it says Happy Sunday. This was yesterday. Good news, you're only 84 points away from Diamond. One more customer should do it. You have until the 31st. Okay. And then yesterday, pay period on Friday, pay period ends tomorrow. Let me know if you need anything. Congratulations, you are Diamond again. Let's set your goal to be double Diamond when we go to Dallas in October. Okay, so all of these texts, there's two more here. Okay, I just kept sending them out and telling people what they needed and what they would get and how far away. It's easier for a new person to get a text like this than to go into their back office and try and figure it out. And their eggs are scrambled. And you know, because maybe your eggs get scrambled looking at the back office. But if they know, hey, if I get this, then I receive this. If I get here, my rank changes to this. It's very simple. It's easy. Everybody should do this every month with their teammates. Okay, everybody should do it. And, you know, now, do you know if you see a red check mark, okay, those were the texts that I had just been reading to you. And do you know that 90% of those texts that I sent out, those people reached the things that was written about in that text? They hit it. Okay, there was only a couple of them that didn't get there. Okay, and I don't even know if they read the text or not. All of these texts that I read to you, they got them. You know what it does for me? It pisses me off that I waited to the end of the month to do it when it probably should have happened at least one or two other times before we got to the end of the month. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to start focusing on. I think it'll make life real simple for you, real easy for you. Simple explanations, always. Never use industry terms. In other words, multi-level marketing terms. You know, the way we talk to each other about Diamond and Sapphire, the way we talk to each other about volume and points and you know, ranks, and never use that. But get used to these numbers in the red. You know, $25 on every 500. What do you want? $50 on every 500, 75 on every 500, or 100 on every 500. The bonuses are retroactive for the whole month. You can get off to a very slow start with your customers and finish the month strong, and it's retroactive for everything that went on that month. Every customer you brought in and every subscription that went out. And that is something that I honestly don't think most people understand. And that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about it tonight. Keeping it simple, using normal words and language, real talk. Don't feel like you have to, you got to understand when we're talking to people, they're sizing us up to see if they can do what we do. And I don't care if you are a doctor, I don't care if you're an engineer or lawyer, it doesn't matter. Try not to act overly educated. It's not duplicatable or duplicable, I guess is the right word. But, you know, keep it simple so the person you're talking to could envision themselves doing it too. Does that make sense? I mean, does that like add up to you? And, you know, one other story, and I'm going to give it to April because I'm sure she's got a couple things to share, and then we'll open it up. You know, I met with Kenneth yesterday. We tend to try and meet every month, every 3 or 4 weeks. It doesn't always work out that way, but, you know, he was over near Orlando and we met, and, we get a station in a restaurant and sit there for a couple hours, with our computers and we just brainstorm. Listen to this one, why we were just brainstorming. Okay. He has a new doctor, a Dr. Sheila. Okay. She's up in Illinois in the Frankfurt area. And she's new. And she did a really good job. And she was in Africa for half the month. She was only around for half the month, but she ordered 3 different wholesale bundles in her first month in the business. And her staff sold all the product while she was in Africa. So I'm like, Kenneth, that's a good one. I mean, there's some good stuff going on there. She was gone in Africa half the month, and she just ordered for the 3rd time, wholesale. And so we looked at the points, and she was close. She was getting close to being SC1. Now, if you're not familiar, or if you forgot from Global, SC1, the sharing bonus is double for April, May, and June. Okay. That 150 becomes $300. Okay. So we were going through different people that Kenneth had brought into the business that were in his holding tank. And then we kind of said, hey, let's see what we got here. What's her point total? And he gave me the number. And I said, and what do you got that you could like place under her? And he gave me a number, and I said, okay, so it's about 180 points missing. So why don't you give her the option of ordering 180 points, either with a new customer or however it needs to be done, and you'll place the 2 new consultants you got under her, and let's see if that excites her. Do you know, before we got out of the parking lot, he had texted me that she had already done the order? Now, if you're not sure what it means with the SC1, that's the 2,000 points. What that means is she got an opportunity, because she was active and doing things in her first month in the business, to get 2 consultants placed under her. She got the opportunity to get a $300 bonus instead of 150, but Kenneth got one of the 2 SC1s, I'm sorry, that he needs to get a pair of those custom LifeVantage sneakers that the company, the Nike sneakers that the company is offering. And she wants to do a meeting in Frankfurt, and April and I and Kenneth are talking about next time we go up to Chicago to make it a 2-nighter and do a meeting in Frankfurt for her, and then the other one in Oak Park or Oak Brook, wherever we normally do our regular meeting. And this is just because we were chatting about what was available and what could be done. Okay, I'm telling you, folks, if you keep it simple, you don't overcomplicate it, you stay active from the beginning of the month. What's today? The 1st, right? It's the beginning of the month. You got to get active now so you have your possibilities at the end of the month. So I hope you find that helpful. April, I'm going to give you the last few minutes to you and then open it up and let anyone ask any questions.
Yeah, thanks. They might have questions to that. I don't see anything in the chat. A couple people have said it's great, but yeah, it all boils down to, this is a relationship business. And the better you know your new consultants, the better you're able to help them. It's kind of like the better you can be more creative and figure out who they know and who they can talk to, the better you're going to be able to be for them. Some people are very visual. And I know sometimes when we get to these numbers, particularly a lot of times the ladies, they're like, just tell me how many customers I need, or just tell me, they don't even want to know the 5-10% or whatever. But and then it gets hard because it's not an absolute business. It's, you can't say you need 2 customers or you need 3, because it's all based on what the size of their order is. But you do have to speak to a person on their level, and we're all so different. So some are more visual, some are really good with math, some are not, so, just meeting people and having that relationship with them and figuring out more than just the earnings is who can they talk to? Who do they know? Or they going back through their phone? Are they talking to people? You always be surprised when I think of some of the lines that gave us, a lot of volume over time. It wasn't the person we initially sponsored, but it was somebody that they knew.
Yep.
So always working through people to figure out who you can talk to. But yeah, no, that was spot on. That was a really great training. I don't know if anybody's got questions with the numbers. I know there were some good comments in there. People did not know that. So you simplified that super easy as far as the
You're
customer
always
gathering.
going to be better off if you use dollars instead of percentages or points. Like, if you can just get one more, it's going to mean an extra $200 to you or $300 to you. People
Mhm.
understand dollars, and that's a universal term, and it's always going to perform better than talking percentages or diamonds or sapphires or whatever it is. So,
Great. Any questions? Anybody have any questions in regards to that or?
so I can quiz you.
You
I
know,
see Deanne. I can tell who get it. I could see Deanne gets it. She understood it.
well,
It's
I can say that I appreciated the text because I had no idea and I couldn't find it. And then I went in my back office and I'm like, I still don't get it. And then I was like, oh, I see it now. So yeah, it's confusing. So thank you.
and we'll get better with it. It's I don't know what else to how else to best describe it or what example to use. But the more you do in the beginning of the month, if you get your butt to work early in the month and start getting customers and start getting consultants in your holding tank. Now, we can't move customers, okay? But we have the right to place consultants wherever we choose, okay, in our downline, okay? And sometimes somebody is getting close to something and they've had a good month and you want to throw them a bone, you want to help them out, you want to help them hit. And if you got, it's like having money in the bank. If you got money in the bank, you get a chance to invest it. And if you have consultants in your holding tank, you get a chance to multiply it because you have a chance to help people move up and earn more money depending on what they did that month. And you never reward, I don't want to say bad behavior, you never reward inactive behavior. You reward the people that are active. If you can help them out, you help them out and get somewhere. But if you haven't done anything for the month yourself, you got nothing to offer and you can't change anything. Okay. You can't. So what I want to challenge you to do is let's all have a lot going on throughout the month of June. So everybody has to be up to midnight on June 30th because we're all playing games like Monopoly. We're playing games. And I'm telling you, until you've experienced that in this business, you haven't experienced this business because remember, every time we do something where there's volume, it affects 9 people upline. And if that's in your downline, things are changing constantly. And I'm telling you, you'll never have more fun in your life and you'll never make more money because all of a sudden Deanne puts an order in. Okay. Well, that affects April's business and Bob's business and our upline's business. And everything changes when somebody does business. Can you imagine if you had 20, 30, or 40 people doing business on the last day of the month? All of the options and the stuff that happens. Let's get everyone on here in that position. Let's get everybody in that position. I'm telling you, it's fun. The money goes with the fun. The more fun you have in this business, the more money you make. It's not the other way around. Okay. It's not you make money and then you go have fun. You have fun and the money follows you. And it all starts by going to work in the beginning of the month. So let's all have at it. And who knows, we may get some incentive from the company. Like I said, it's the end of their fiscal year. So let's see what that does. But anyone got anything they want to add or we'll call it a night? Anybody? You good? Everybody good? Cool. Have a great night, everybody. We'll get this trimmed up and posted, and you can share it with your teammates that missed it. Have a great night, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.